I should look at the camera when I do it. Friday fitness on a Tuesday. What I want to talk about is how my programming this year differs from my programming last year. So at the end of last year, let's see if I can sit down. Do I lose or gain too much height on this? A little bit. I can lean against it. So my programming last year was, it got very methodical, like extremely methodical. I was doing an upper-lower split, so there was a push-pull segment of every workout, and I got into longer rests because it's better for hypertrophy, and I wanted that to be the goal. And so my workouts got really long and very repetitive. It was, 4 sets with 2 minutes rest of one exercise, and then 4 sets, 2 minutes rest of another exercise. And I learned that I don't mind spending 3 hours in the gym while I'm spending 3 hours in the gym, but it really makes me a lot less likely to get started. I found, because the workout was so long and repetitive and uninspiring and very unintense, I would put it off thinking that I was going to be like, at some point in the day, I would find the perfect mood, the perfect amount of food and caffeine and sleep and music and video and just everything that had to be perfectly aligned for me to put in this basically 2-hour workout. And so I started skipping a lot of workouts for exactly that reason. Like, I'm too tired to put in 2 hours work. And then the change that I wanted to make, I started at the end of last year. Like, I took a deload, too long of a deload at the end of last year while I was coming up with the new idea of what I was going to do for this year. And I've got it close to dialed in now. I went back to the worst split of all, the bro split. I thought, rather than try and balance my fatigue of all of my muscles doing full body workouts, I just want to get back into the feeling of just smashing a workout, high intensity, sets to failure, the emotionally rewarding workouts, they kept short for that very reason. So I would do 2 exercises. I'd do a push and a pull, and I would do 4 sets as a superset, so 8 movements, no rest. Then I would do a different push-pull, 3 of each exercise, and then another push-pull, 2 of each exercise. Or like any kind of accessories would just be, I would do 2 sets at the end. And I could get the whole thing done in like half an hour and just be exhausted, but really feel like I worked and really have a big pump and just be excited and really enjoy the workout. And so I started with that as kind of the good enough to get going mentality, and then just started tweaking it and dialing it in and counting how many sets per week I was getting of various exercises and moving things around. You won't be able to see it, but it is behind me on the whiteboard, and there's still some things that are like, question marks and ideas and whatnot. And I have the intensity up too high on some days, and I've got to figure out how to dial that back and maybe move some sets around. And I've got my deadlift day really well dialed in, and I like it a lot. And it's become like a core focused day, not simply a deadlift day. But because I only have my weights at home here, my max deadlift is, quick math, 50, 60, 75, about 105 pounds. So I could, last year, I was doing sets of 25. I'd do 4 sets of 25 with minutes of rest. And it's just like, the boredom got really bad, and the grip strength at that point is the limiting factor, not actually the hamstrings and glutes and the deadlift. So I started doing deadlifts last on deadlift day after hip thrusts and good mornings, which are much easier to get an extremely difficult weight on because they're different exercises. So doing like 75 pounds with those exercises and a bunch of ab roller stuff. Watch Jeff Cavalier's videos on ab rollers. and kettlebell windmills and things like that, and just kind of getting exhausted, and then doing 4 sets of 10 with no rest, deadlifts, got me feeling like deadlifts were effective again, so I'm proud of that. The thing I think I was doing too intensely was my Mondays, where I was starting with pull-ups, and I was doing 4 sets of pull-ups, supersetted with overhead presses and no rest, and just being like fried, like getting right to the point of this isn't fun anymore, I feel a little bit ill, and then finishing the workout. And I don't like to hit that point too soon. I was thinking about this a lot, because I'm on a deload week right now. And like, this isn't important or interesting. This is me talking to myself. If you're watching, thank you. If not, that's okay. Last week, I started feeling a bit ill during the workout, and it wasn't fun. And I thought I thought the intensity's a bit too high. We'll see how it goes. And then I rested over the weekend as normal, and immediately on Monday felt like shit again, and just called the workout, just tapped it, and was like, if I feel this awful, because sometimes you'll feel a bit crappy during the warm-up, and then you get into the lifts and it becomes fun. And sometimes it's fun all the way through, and sometimes you've gone a bit too far at the end. You start kind of staring off into space a bit too much. You don't feel like moving your head to the music or anything like that. You really kind of shrink inward. That's when you know like the endorphins are already peaked and you need to be stopping. And yeah, yesterday I was just like, I'm fucking fried immediately. I was breathing weird all through the warm up. None of the lifts felt good. Just stopped, decided I would cut all my sets in half for this week, which is why I feel pretty refreshed and talkative right now. Like, I think it's already going to go okay. So yeah, that's the difference between last year's programming and the faults that grew into it, and then what I'm doing different this year and how it's what my different priorities are. Like, I want to keep the intensity up so I get the emotional benefits of exercise, even if it's less optimal for hypertrophy and things like that. And just other news, since I only want to make one fucking video, so I can upload one video a year to this channel. One, doing my first ever diet. My wife and I went on a low acid diet. And it's broken into sections where there's like an immediate cessation period, and then a healing period that's got some different foods included and excluded, and then a reintroduction period. It switched up my calories and the foods that I'm used to eating and all that, so I started dropping some body fat. It was good for like my sinuses and things like that as well. I was getting really, really, really bad acid reflux at the end of last year, primarily from the amount of hard liquor that I was drinking. And it required giving up coffee for some weeks, and then you could get back to a single cup of decaf, which I'm now back on. And I had my first single cup of decaf a couple of days ago, and it was like breath of God breathed back into me. Felt alive for the first time in years. So it's neat. We're gonna do another diet in a couple of months, because I want to do a low fermentable saccharides diet, a FODMAP diet, because I think that's more the core of the problem we have in our diet. So we're eating too many food MOPs, FODMAPs. It's a hard, weird word to say. And finally, I am now a certified personal trainer. I completed my CanFit Pro. I passed my theory course. I booked my practical. I passed my practical. I am now a for real certified personal trainer. I started the job hunt again. I don't feel any sense of accomplishment because I'm immune to feelings of accomplishment. I only feel worry. I only ever feel bad about things. But nevertheless, it is official and it is done, and I want to bookmark that. And also, maybe I'll do this in another video, but I don't want to forget since I'm rambling now. I did find something that I can use as a before photo. I was looking at some old footage for just like nostalgic videos of like my friends and I at the beach and stuff like that, and going through all my old footage. I found some footage of that showed me being very small, and I was just freshly shaven because I had bald spots in my beard, so I shaved my beard off, and I just looked fucking horrible. And this was the very, very beginning of the era where I decided to change my life. Like when this footage, I'm gonna put it in. Just gonna start, do a couple, see if I can get through Performance of Sadness. So when this footage was taken, I had just taken up jogging, like maybe even that month, but like right around that period, I know because of the house that we're staying in there and everything. So yeah, that was the physique, and like you can't see it because the guitar is in the way, and I'm framed much more like this. But I had a beer gut, and then my limbs were all skinny, and yeah, I just seeing this footage made me cringe so hard I imploded and had to crawl out my own anus and rebuild myself. Friday Fitness. Stay caffeinated.